Carpool with Ben, ladies and gentlemen. You know, one of the problems that may be facing more people than we are thinking of as the pandemic, kind of comes to a close and different executive orders and different laws or acts that were put in place temporarily change could be the housing situation for some folks. Joining me from Crossroads RI is Laura Calenda. She is the chief philanthropic officer, or you do a lot of good stuff over there.
Long title, Chief Marketing and Philanthropy Officer.
All right, so you're the multi-purpose utility player over there, which is great. And I know Karen Santilli is the CEO right now, but over my career, the woman who was in her spot before her, Ann Ryan, Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, Ann Nolan. Yeah.
Ann Nolan. I always get Nolan Ryan, Ann Nolan. Ann Nolan. I heard her speak a number of times, and the basic facts, were always surprising. There's a section of people out there that, homelessness for them is only temporary. And in that point, how much work you're able to do, it's a few months to a year, but how much work Crossroads RI is able to do to get the person back and offer some services, because it's just getting over that step, that hump, or whatever that time frame is. And then of course you have the people who are long-term, or it's more recurring theme. Crossroads Rhode Island does such an amazing work. Can you just encapsulate it if people aren't familiar with what you folks do?
Sure. So every year in Rhode Island, about 4,000 people experience homelessness, and every year in Rhode Island, Crossroads provides housing and housing-related services to about 3,000 people. So we're the leading provider of housing and services to the homeless in the state. And to your point, Ben, I think when people think of people experiencing homelessness, they think about someone who is chronically homeless. But it might surprise people to know that the vast majority of the people that we see are working poor. I mean, they are people that are working often multiple jobs, and they may just need a little bit of assistance with, first and last month's rent, or back utility bills, in order to get themselves out of a precarious situation and avoid becoming homeless. So we provide services to both, but it is an important distinction, and might start to shift people's mindset about who is experiencing homelessness in our state.
Yeah, some of the stories that have been brought to light by your group is, teacher at in a local school district who just went a few months, and you were able to intervene and get her back on her feet. Families in just different situations. We're going to come into that kind of a situation, I'm afraid, as some of these moratoriums that were enacted because of COVID, and the fact that we have a serious crisis in housing right now with lack of housing. What are some of the ways that you and the organization are kind of preparing to take that on as we come into the late summer, into the fall months, and some of these things could possibly expire?
Sure, you're absolutely right, Ben. I mean, I think the utility moratorium ended yesterday. The eviction moratorium is ending at the end of the month, and the hotel voucher program, which we've been able to use to keep families in shelters and hotels, will be coming to an end this fall as well. So there's definitely a concern that people who may have lost their jobs or had their incomes impacted over the course of the pandemic may start to experience homelessness as we move later into the summer and into the fall. Oftentimes what happens when that occurs is they may kind of couch surf and stay with families and friends for a while, but once you get like 2 to 3 months in, that starts to be harder and harder to sustain. So we're really concerned that we're going to start to see an increase in the number of people experiencing homelessness once we get to about October and November, when the weather starts to get colder. And in fact, we did see an increase in homelessness over the course of the last year. The number of families experiencing homelessness has increased double digits, and the number of individuals that are living outdoors is over 60%. So it's really quite alarming. And I think people that work in the field are concerned that the worst may be yet to come. In response to that, certainly throughout the pandemic, Crossroads has been hard at work putting together plans to help create more housing here in Rhode Island. We've got an ambitious plan right now to create 300 additional units. So it won't, that in and of itself won't end the homeless crisis here in Rhode Island, the housing shortage, but it'll definitely take a big bite out of it. And that would be enough for us to house every single person staying in one of our shelters right now.
That's incredible. It's quite a project to be taking on, and that's the thing is, Crossroads RI, you're not just handing out a check or paying rent, or you have a slew of programs as well as professionals in various agencies, whether it be governmental or nonprofit, as well as obviously your nonprofit, but that you kind of connect people to, and you try to make those connections as one of the many things that you do to help elevate that person and bring them up. I mean, what has it been like going through COVID, now coming out, working with those other agencies or working with, state and local government to really take this challenge on head on?
I think there's been an incredible amount of collaboration throughout the pandemic, on the behalf of the various agencies that work in this field. It was really a crisis situation, and everybody really stepped up and did what was necessary in order to keep people safe. And I think moving forward, there's definitely a lot of support from both state officials, and I think the agencies kind of evolving around the need to really create more housing. When we came out of the last recession, a lot of the housing that was developed was really high end, and there really wasn't a lot of housing developed for working class families, and certainly not for people at the lowest income levels. And those are some critical areas where we really need to see some future development on a moving forward basis.
If you're watching this online and you're somebody who could be in trouble looking for some help or some information, obviously reach out to Crossroads. But if you're one of the folks that are watching this and you're saying, gee, I'd love to jump in and help, Laura, there's plenty of ways that people could do that, right? I mean, you've got events coming up, there's annual giving, there's monthly giving, there's many different ways that people can get involved and support the amazing work being done over there.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody would care to help support the work that we do, please feel free to visit our website at www.crossroadsri.org. And if you're a landlord out there and you have an available unit that you're willing to rent, there's some great programs in place that'll help make sure that you get your rent, and it'll help us get families who are currently staying in the hotel out of the hotel and into a home in order to attend school in the fall. So lots of different ways to help. Please feel free to reach out.
That's great. And we have some events coming up in the fall.
We do. We have an in-person event coming up on October 13th. It's going to be called Neighbor Helping Neighbor, and it's going to be in the Industrial Spirit Company in Providence. We're really excited about it. Awesome location right next to the Steel Yard, and details will be up on our website in the not too distant future.
Awesome. The Steel Yard is really cool. If you ever get a chance to see them do one of their pour nights, whatever, where they get the hot steel going, it's cool to see. It's a really cool form of art, and it's beautiful and violent and hot and cool. It's just the whole thing. It's really something cool. So make a whole night of it. Make a whole night. Go support Crossroads Rhode Island, folks. If you want to learn more about this wonderful organization, just like Laura said, go online. The monthly giving program is probably the easiest way. You can just set that up for a recurring gift. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yeah. A little $10 a month, and you're able to make an impact over the course of an entire year and hardly even notice that you're making a donation.
That's incredible. Laura, thank you so much for taking your time. Enjoy the rest of your summer. And folks, go follow Crossroads on all the social media channels to keep up to date with what's happening, both ways you can get involved in ways that they are helping out our community. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Ben. Have a great day.